started here, Chris. Fire away, sir.
Kelvin, could you talk about the lift that Ramon gave you, first half especially?
That's his job. He's an energy guy. Um, I think it's his greatest strength. He's improved in a lot of areas, but he has a very direct role on this team. I felt like last year's team missed him. When we wound up having to redshirt him, but our guys, that's why they love playing with him. He rubs off on a lot of our guys. Malik too. Malik comes in and changes the temperature of the game. Basketball, you're either going to be the thermometer or the thermostat. Which one? You can't change the temperature, but you can change the thermostat. Just go in and do your thing. But Ramon has things he's good at, things that maybe are not his strengths. But the good things, he's figured them out. When you're coming out of high school, those kids don't know for a foot of horseback, so they think they do everything. And for the first time in their lives, they've usually been told the truth. You can't. No. You are not a good ball handler. Pass it. What's the plan going left? Because they won't let you go right. And I could go on and on. Right, Terrance?
Next question. Starnes. Go ahead, Starnes.
After sort of the sluggish start, how do you feel sort of the team responded, especially coming out of out of halftime?
About like you did. I can tell your thoughts, Starnes, by the questions you asked. You liked that start, that second half, didn't you? I did too. I thought the start of the game sucked. I wouldn't kick a dead hog in the butt for the way we played early in the game. But I'm not surprised. Last year we played, I don't even remember our record. I think we played 30. How many games did we play last year? 37. In those 37 games, now when season starts, people have a tendency to forget. I don't, because I see it every day. Last year we started Tremont Mark, Marcus Sasser, and Jarris Walker. Every game for 30-some games. This year we're starting LJ, who's played one game for us so far, versus Tremont, who's played, I don't know, I'd hate to guess. I know he sat out of here, so what, 50, 60, something like that. Mark's played 100 and some. So those guys look different than this team does. This team's going to have a lot of sluggish moments. We're going to have a lot of moments we don't look very good. It's part of it until you do. You don't start off in November by playing March basketball. This is November basketball. It's just the way it works. But there's a lot of things that if you're just make your free throws, you probably walk out of here with a little bit better feeling about the team or about yourself. I think we made our last 4. Did you make your last 2, Jim? Didn't JVA make his last 2? Yeah. So, we'll have nights when we make free throws. But one of the biggest differences in this team and last year's team is our ability to get to the free throw line. And that's a renewed emphasis on driving it. But the reason we're emphasizing that is the way they're calling it. They're calling driving fouls. So Jamal can drive it. LJ is getting better at that. Terrance is much better off to drive this year. J1 has always gotten to the free throw line. But, we attempted 35 free throws today, and they attempted how many? Yeah, that's unusual. We attempted 3 times more than our opponents. We haven't done that very many times. But every team is different. This team's strengths are different than last year's teams. But, that's kind of the coach's job. Figure out how this team can win, regardless of any other team. But we'll get better as we go, as we always do.
Coach, since they are calling it differently, are you having to emphasize defending angles differently?
No. Our problem, the only thing I did at halftime was cut out the BS switching. You know, switching is usually either necessity or convenience. And most kids do it out of convenience. It's just easier to switch. Problem is that, you know, the guy you're switching with, especially when it's instantaneous, you're putting him at a disadvantage. And that's what was happening a lot. Then we cut it out, we were fine. So next game we won't be doing that, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Terrance, how do you think you did on the boards today?
I think I did pretty good. I got 8 of them, so I was just trying to. Every time I saw a shot, I tried to go after it, get a tip on there or something, just going after it. I was able to get them this time, so.
Juwan, your thoughts on rebounding for the team overall?
Just trying to stay the course. You know, I know what type of rebounder I am. And even if I don't get it, you know, just try to get a chance to tip it, let somebody else get it, you know. We already know that we're not a first-shot team. You know, there's nothing new. And our strength is, you know, second chance points too. So just going into the game mentally, just, I mean, we want every shot to go in, but every time somebody shoots, I think it's going to miss. You know, just give me a chance to get in position to get a rebound and kick it back out and, you know, shoot it again. And if you miss, go get it again. And that's just how our style of play is. So we never hang our heads on a missed shot because we know we got 3 dudes going at the, you know, glass to get it back. So just being consistent, basically, and doing what we keep doing on, we're going to be pretty good.
Kelvin, Jamal only playing, I think, 6 minutes in the first half. Was that the fouls, or you just didn't like the start?
No, I just do what I've done for 35 years. You pick up 2 fouls, you sit. But I will say this about Corpus Christi. I don't know their coaching staff, but I know they've got a good program. That team's won 47 games the last 2 years and been in 2 straight NCAA tournaments. Most post-game analysis is usually from a cynical tint. You know, like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? It's never, hey, you're pretty good at this, pretty good at that, right? But let's give them a lot of credit. That team plays hard, and they are really, really well coached. I mean, I like what he's doing. You can see why they've had great success in their conference. And that's the team, when you get to March, you look up and say, it's 15 seed, 16 seed, who are they playing? And that game was a lot closer than you anticipate because of their style of play. I mean, they play hard. You know, we didn't come out. You always worry about 12:30 games. They're a little different at 7 o'clock at night. You know, they punched us in the mouth a little early. Okay, so what? Who cares? I mean, we learn from it. That's what you want to do. The game's not going to go according to script all the time. You know, let's say we had made 78% of free throws, and we had won by 40. Let's say won by 40. Does that change anything about our team or their team? No. But the point differential means nothing. That's why I was impressed with them today. I liked the way they played. They scrapped. They made us have to get to another shelf in the closet. Now our length and we played harder than they did the second half. We played harder than they did at the end of the first half. But you know, one of the things that this team was constructed upon was depth. You know, it was hard to play only 7 guys. You know, the year we went to the Elite 8 and lost to Villanova, our kids are really wore down in the month of March because having to play 35, 37 minutes every night. You know, our legs from Arizona to Villanova was shot, and you know, you just make mental notes. We got to get deeper. We got to be able to play more guys. We got to cut this guy's minutes down, and get more depth, especially in the backcourt. Front line, you can manipulate some of those things, but Javier continues to get better. JoJo was. I asked John, could he play today? If you notice, he had one of those fancy contraptions on his back. I don't know what the hell those things are, but he had one, but his back was hurt. And JoJo's one of them dudes that if he's hurt, he's hurt. You know, he's not an excuse guy. You know, we just need him to keep progressing. Terrance, though. Terrance getting better. Juan's old man River. Javier's got a ceiling that he's reaching. But they just needed to play. You know, they just needed an opportunity. Sometimes, give me a chance, Coach. That's why I like our big group. We've got some young guys that are working hard every day in practice. You know, it's hard to sit over there for 38 minutes and go in and do what Sed does. You know, if Sed got to play 8 or 9 minutes each half, you'd be surprised what his numbers would be. He's pretty good. You know, he shot one of them shots that somebody looked like they left the window open and wind blew it over by the 40-yard line. I don't know what that was, but Sed's getting better. You know, we're redshirting Jacob and we're redshirting Cordell. I mean, I've never seen anything like Cordell. Thank God he didn't have 3 hands. I think he'd have broke that one too. You showed up with two fractures in your wrist. So our teams, we're on our way. You know, everything good and bad is a great experience for us right now. We learn from it all.
Good time for a couple more stars.
You mentioned Terrance getting better. You know, what kind of improvements have you seen from him? You know, particularly just his comfort in the game as well as defense and rebounding.
Go ahead, Terrance. Take that one for a ride.
Just going out there trying to play hard, doing all the little things that to help the team, getting better with my defense. That's where I get my confidence from is my defense when I stop a dribble drive or get an offensive rebound or something like that. So just getting confidence from that helps me play better. So.
He's right.
And him knowing that we got trust in him. Yeah. You know, every time TRS goes out there, we know we're going to get from him, and we trust him. You know, we want him to shoot. We want him to rebound. We want him to do a lot of things. And just, you know, him feeding off our energy, I think, gives him confidence to do whatever he want to do and be comfortable in, you know, his own skin to do what he want to do. So whatever he want to do, you know, we riding with it, 10 toes.
Exactly. You know, it's hard for freshmen to be on highly ranked teams. You know, we're not a middle of the road. Last year's team I'm talking about when he came as freshman. You know, sometimes you look at ways of Fresh Whitney doing better. Well, look at the team he's playing on. Look at the other guys. We had a number 8 pick in the draft. We had a 25th pick in the draft. We had Tremont Mark, who's uber talented. Who's he going to play in front of? You know, it's not going to be 50-50. You know, Terrance, we need to get Terrance 20 and Marcus 20. No, Marcus is going to play 30-something. Terrance is going to play 8. That's just the way it is. He's a freshman. You know, and if you had 5 Terrances, you just have to get used to getting your ass whipped. Well, that's just the way it would be. You know, it's like the year we went to the Final Four. How many times have I said it? The 2 #1 recruiting classes in the nation that year was Duke and Kentucky. Neither one made the tournament. Why? Because they played all freshmen. Now, those kids come back as sophomores, juniors, they usually dominate and do great. Think about how good Jarris Walker would be right now on this team, the year he would have. Doesn't happen. The good thing about him is he's got some smart people around him to make sure he comes back. And probably needs to come back again next year. You know, we'll see how smart they are.
Good time for a couple more. Chris, Brian, do you have one?
Yeah.
We got Ryan and Joe in the back.
You have 4 games in 7 days this coming week. Does that change the schedule at all?
Yeah. Oh, it's just like the conference tournament. You know, you have 3 games in 3 days. I don't think the schedule changed too much. I mean, we're pretty smart with making sure our kids' legs are fresh, but it also helps us have in depth, I think, with the way the games are set up. You know, I haven't looked at minutes played, but Javier played 20, Juan 22, Jamal 19, Emmanuel 21, JoJo 20. You know, we're fine there. play Monday night. Then I think we fly out Tuesday. Thursday, Friday, sit out Saturday, right? And then play Sunday. Yeah, so, but that's what we need. We need a week like this. We need, what was tough about did Louisiana Monroe beat Central Michigan today? Well, Central Michigan's pretty good. Check that score. Because when we were playing Louisiana Monroe, I said, there's probably a lot of people around here who don't think they're very good. I did. They did. Yeah, they're pretty good, but that's just the way it is. But and this team today is pretty good too. Now, most people think, well, you're playing nobodies. Well, you don't know what you're talking about because you don't do this for a living. This Corpus Christi team's good. Now, are they Duke and Arizona good? No. Well, maybe we're not either, but they're pretty good. They beat teams. Who was it that Monmouth beat last night? West Virginia, Jeff. Got to be on top of that. Most times I know the answer. I'm just checking you. And then the postseason evaluation, Jeff, I go back to the questions. How many did he answer right? Well, today you had to go to your phone twice, so that's 0 for 2. Come on, Jeff, you got to pick it up a little bit. Huh? All right.
Last question, we'll go to Joe in the back.
We get a chance to see Coach. He gives us pearls of wisdom here. You guys are kind of laughing a little bit at some of the answers from what he talks about, how he talks about the team. What's it like being coached by him, and as far as the demands that are required upon you, and then the stuff that you enjoy with the smiles and laughs? Sorry, Coach, I got to get this one.
Shouldn't you be outside parking cars with that outfit you got? What question is that?
I would just say from my first year when I redshirted, I took a lot of notes. I learned a lot from the guys that was in front of me. And I just sat back, and I learned a lot. And I just feel like everything Coach Sampson do is out of love. Nothing personal. And if you choose to take it personal, then that's on you. But after he says what he says, he moves on. And, my first couple years, I took it personal. I was 17, 18. I didn't know no better. But as I got older and I got smarter, I realized that all he's trying to do is help. Is nothing personal or hatred, coming out of his mouth. It's just him, being on top of you and just want to see you do, the best you can be. So as of right now, it'll be my 5th year. I respect him way more, and, outside of basketball, I see him as a father figure, not just on the court, but off the court too. And I feel like in the next 5 years, Coach Sampson could be a, person that I can call and talk about anything, not even basketball. If I have kids in the future, my kids can come around and, be a Coach Sampson. And I just feel like that bond that I have with him is beyond love, and I appreciate that from Coach. I'll text him every once in a while, and I'll tell him, I appreciate him, even the coaching staff. So just the relationship, that I have for him is I can't say it in too much words.
I love you too, J1.
Love you too, Coach.
You want to follow that up?
Come on,
Oh
Terrance.
yeah, man. Just like one said, I just love him, man. It's just keep us on our toes, but I love him to death. He's helping me grow as a person and as a player, so just want to thank him for that. That's why I came here forward, to grow as a player, but also like off the court as a person. So, and Coach is definitely helping me with that. He's helping me become mentally tough, and just helping me grow. So I want to thank Coach for that.
Well, the thing about this team is I don't know what their ceiling is. I've had some teams that I knew that they had a lower ceiling. This team has a higher ceiling. We're so used to losing 4 starters every year and bringing our team along to be pretty good. This team's not there yet, nor should they be. But you can tell in practices. Right now, we're playing much better in practices than we are in games. But I would say all my teams did that. It takes them a while to be good in games because they've never played with each other. They have no experience. In practices, they can be themselves a little bit more. Where in games, they don't want to mess up. They're kind of thinking their way through whatever was called. Whereas in practice, you got someone's always helping you. Where in games, you're out there by yourself. So we're still growing, and but I like the potential of this team. I think this team can be really good, and I like this team. I mean, I really like the guys. We have great player leadership. You know, I've been really proud of J1, how he's developed into a leader. You know, Terrance finding his voice. You know, but that's why you coach. You don't coach for a record or how many wins or that stuff. That's for people that don't know what they're talking about to chit-chat about. But for me, it's about those things. You know, I was talking to Rob Gray for a long time this week, and you know, he was talking about when he first got here and all that stuff that you asked. He was talking about that stuff, and Josh Carlton, Justin Gorham, you know, all those teams, when their teams were in the first and second week of November. You know, I remember all those teams. There's some things I don't remember well, but I remember my teams and how they looked because I keep notes. And this team's very similar to just about every team we had. You know, other people's expectations is usually what causes the pain, not us. You know, our expectations are what they are. Now, the ones that you set for yourself, that's on you. We have nothing to do with that. But I'm anxious and excited about this team's growth. Probably no more questions, but last time when I say this is Veterans Day, so in 2007, I think, I was chosen as one of the original 8 coaches to go over to Iraq and Kuwait. Donald Rumsfeld was the Secretary of Defense, and we had to go through this extensive security check. And I remember them giving us different itineraries, but wouldn't tell us which one would be used because of the military travel we were doing. We might have taken a C-130 from Andrews Air Force Base to Germany, or we might fly United to London, or we might fly from somewhere to Abu Dhabi. I think I wound up with the London-Abu Dhabi ticket. But just being around 9,000 troops at Camp Arif, John, you know, you don't have to always agree with politics or whether we should or should not be in the war, but you should always support our troops. And that's what Veterans Day is about, supporting the troops. As somebody's son, somebody's daughter that's over there defending our freedom. So I am pro military. And with Veterans Day being here, I just wanted to say shout out and thank them all for what they do for our country and how much we appreciate them.